We are the loneliest generation of parents ever. Isn't that really, really startling? We were never, ever meant to do this in isolation.
I feel like villages are disappearing. We continue to sacrifice community for convenience in a way.
You can have the convenience, but then let's make sure we over-index in bringing everyone together.
What made you feel most alone when you first had kids? Hello and welcome back to We're Doing Great. Today we have Michelle Kennedy on the pod. She is the founder and CEO of Peanut. If you're a mom, you probably use this app. She is a mother who knows, frankly, what mothering is really like. She is on a mission to help women and moms find more friends to rebuild the village that our generation has lost. She is the author of an amazing book called It Takes a Village, filled with essential truths for new moms. And she's just one of the coolest people ever who has a lot of wisdom to drop. So we hope you enjoyed today's chat. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's so nice to see you again, Michelle. I have a burning question for you because I've been reading a lot and I know that never before in human history have parents been expected to do so much, but so isolated.
Right.
And I know that Peanut and you guys did a study on loneliness in mothers. And I want to know, what do you think broke the village?
Such an amazing question. And it's so hard. We are the loneliest generation of parents ever. Isn't that really, really startling? When you hear it like that, it's so sad. We are the loneliest generation ever. And I think what happened is we were never, ever meant to do this in isolation. We were never meant to live in these little boxes on our own, raising our children on our own without the support of a community. That was never the intention. And so where did the village go? I think what happened is we started to move. We moved for lifestyle. We moved for work. We moved for studying. We moved for all these different reasons that perhaps weren't always available to us before. And what didn't then happen is we didn't then restart the community that we were from before, or we were used to before. So you kind of become this implant. You move. And what doesn't move with you is all of the things that have been there for generations. So if you think about it, we don't really have community centers anymore. There isn't a place where everyone in the community will go and do something together anymore. In fact, what even is the community? And so the village became something that was kind of in one's head where you were aware of this, it takes a village to raise a child. And you were like, but where's my village actually? And so you don't live next door to your sister, around the corner from your mom, across the road from neighbors who you love and who watched you grow up. And so everything is really like dispersed. And that has left us really, really isolated.
That is so sad. Like the way how you describe like where is the community and like what even is a community. I feel like that is such a modern thing because like all around us, even like in the most literal way, I feel like villages are disappearing instead of like the motherhood village or your friend's village, like the village, but also everything is ordering stuff online. There are no like cute neighborhood shops where you go grocery shopping every day, like groceries get delivered. You watch movies at home instead of going out to go and watch them. You don't go to cafes and like as often anymore because like your kids are not really welcome there. Stuff like it's all the little things where we continue to sacrifice community for convenience in a way.
Absolutely. And so now that we're in these new environments that we were never meant to be, what we forgot to do is the second part, which is you can have the convenience, but then let's make sure we over-index in bringing everyone together. So it's okay that we will deliver your shopping and you're not going to go to the mall, but now let's make sure that what we have is a community village epicenter where everyone is going to hang out on a Sunday morning or whatever it might be. And actually, if you think about it, in generations gone past, religion was very responsible for this as well, right?
Yes.
Because people would culturally go and have a meeting because of a religious belief. And now as we've become less influenced by that, then there's even less reason to connect. And so if we accept that that's the progression of society, that's okay. The bit that isn't okay is and so what's the substitute? And that's the bit that we've neglected. And we forgot how important that is as a glue, actually, as a moral compass, as a glue, as making sure that people aren't isolated and alone. If we thought about it and if we really focused on it, I think some of the issues that we more widely see probably wouldn't be there.
I totally agree. And I feel like when you become a parent, and I mean, we're all mothers here, but so I'm going to say when I became a mom, I actually went back to work very quickly, and I didn't really have the mental bandwidth to find community. I was the first mom in my friend group locally that had a kid. I was like, what do I do with this thing? Like, what do I do and what's happening? I had my mom who lives an hour away, but otherwise I felt like I had to kind of buy a village almost, like, because I didn't have the mat leave to go out and try to meet moms and go to the like drop-in centers and the music classes and do all of those things. And I felt like obviously very lonely, but also when I did have more time later, I kind of had missed out on that. And everyone with babies my kids' age already had their mom friends. And I remember going to this yoga class and all the moms were there with their babies. They all knew each other. And I was like, oh, like I'm a very social person, but I was like, shit, I don't fit into this little mom clique. Right. And I don't actually really have one on my own. So what do I do? And then I kind of ended up buying the help. Like, it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to be stuck at home and I need support, I'm going to have to hire a nanny because maybe my village is not physically close enough or able to come every day or, whatever the reason. I think it's one thing to acknowledge that we need this village and this community. And obviously the how of that is its own conversation I want to get into. But what about for people who can't necessarily afford support if the village isn't right there with them, even if it's just one person? But like, how do we think about this from a socioeconomic standpoint as well?
Two different things. One is resource. And of course, I will always say that resourcing your life, like you resource your business or like you resource your workplace, is vital to the success of what you're doing within your means. And so for some people, that is obviously extremely accessible. And for most people, that is not as accessible, particularly post-child, right? That's the other thing that we forget. The time that you need to resource it most is actually when you have less disposable income than you've ever had in your entire life.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you're trying to think about how to resource things. This is where we've again lost that element of community and village, where certainly even when I was growing up and then generations before, you had childcare because there was one woman, mom on the street who was the childminder. And she would have everyone's kids round after school or whatever because they were working moms. And so we don't even really think about that sharing of childcare anymore. We try and think about having one-to-one. I'm going to have a nanny, I'm going to have a sitter, or I'm going to have my child go to nursery. But actually, that is also not how we did things in years gone past and decades gone past. It was really pooled and resourced. And so we don't even think about some of those things now. So how do you start and how do you go about that? Again, it comes back to you need the village. You just need one friend, one person who's on your wavelength, who you share values with. And it's almost like trying to get back to that element and that mental positioning of communal living almost. It's like, okay, do we share enough in common that I would be comfortable with my kid being raised in the same values as yours? If the answer is yes, let's do what we can to pool our resources. It's the oldest mindset in the world, but it's also a really new mindset for most of us because we haven't ever thought about it.
It's so true. I have to say too, like the people I talk to the most on a daily basis, aside from Esther, is my mom group chat. And it's the moms of the other kids that I met through my kids' daycare. And we've become super close because they're physically close to us because they go to the same daycare. So when you're stuck, they're the people that are closest, not my best friend, not my mom. It's those people that are just right there. And I feel like there's so much value there. But what I also find so interesting is my husband doesn't partake in that the same way that I do. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this because we talk so much about mothers and I do believe it is harder for us. But what about the dad? I mean, how do you think about that?
It's so interesting because a lot of people say to me, when are you doing Peanut for Dads? And my husband calls it my husband calls it he nut. He's like, when's he nut coming? And
oh my God, please do it.
I know, I kind of love it. But the truth of the matter is I'm not the right person to solve for the problem, because it's not a problem that I am deeply familiar and intimately understand in the same way as a man would. And that's just the truth of what we build. And I think so deeply about how women connect, what we do, what happens when we come together, how you need who we would call the guardian, who is the person who will look after the group and make sure that someone's message goes answered and doesn't feel alone. And you need the party starter, and she's the one that will always, get the group chat going and share the fun thing. And then you need the librarian who makes sure that everyone's in order and keeps everything. Did everyone reply to this? Have you voted on this? Have you said? So we need all of those different characters in the group chat. And I don't know who those characters are in the dad life version. And I also don't know how men need each other and show up for each other, but I do intimately understand how women do that. I think that men have an extremely important part to play, of course, in parenthood, in parenting, but I'm not the right person necessarily to solve for it. I do know this: men are absolutely in your village, and that might be your partner if you're in a heterosexual relationship, but that also might be the man who is at the coffee shop who serves you your coffee every morning when you've just managed to get out of the house and smiles and says, how did they sleep last night? Right.
Yes.
So
yes,
they're everywhere, and we're all in it together. And those kind of people are so important in our lives. And that feeling seen and having that smile and having someone say, you look great today, you made it out today, well done, whatever it is hugely important.
Yeah, that you made it out today is so
right.
I don't want to put the responsibility of a dad group as something else on women's shoulders in that sense. I feel like it is up to dads to initiate that circle and that friend group. And I think it is such a lacking in male culture or men culture to go and find that connection with other men in the sense of being a parent, where I feel like they aren't owning that enough yet, generally speaking, because I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush, obviously. But I think I don't want to make it women's responsibility again to make sure that the men are connecting.
Absolutely. And I think that what we do hear from Peanut, which I love, is when women meet on Peanut and their partners then become friends. And I think that is so beautiful and so amazing, because it is, again, it's just about connection. And ultimately, doesn't matter how you found the connection as long as you find the connection.
Exactly.
So I think that there are beautiful things that happen as a consequence of us being supported.
What made you feel most alone when you first had kids? And can you remind us how old, for people listening, how old is your oldest?
Yes. So my son is 11 and my daughter is 6. You can see I have a relatively decent age gap between the two of them. And that was honestly because I found it so difficult with Finn. I couldn't ever imagine doing it again. It took me that long to really even come to terms with it. And that's not because he's not incredible. He's amazing and I adore him. I worship him. But it was really difficult. I found early motherhood, first time motherhood, extremely hard.
It is so hard.
It's so hard. I felt
Can I just take a moment for that, please? It is so hard.
It's so hard. Sometimes I think back to some of the things that I did and I could cry for myself. It was really, very emo.
Tell us something. What would you look back on and cry about now?
I remember, so it was December in London and I was the first also, so the same. I knew exactly who I was in my work version of Michelle. I knew exactly her status. I understood I understood all of that. All of a sudden, I'm at home on my own in the middle of the day with a tiny person. He doesn't talk. In your head, you think you're going to be playing with them. But remember those 12 weeks, they don't do anything.
There's nothing to do with
There's
them.
Nothing to do.
It's so weird. Yes.
You can't go to a class. They haven't even had all their shots to enable them to go to a class, right? So you can't go anywhere. It was cold. It was grey. He didn't do anything. I didn't know what to do. I had so much anxiety about feeding and all these other things. And I would see people going about their life normally, and I'd be furious with them. I'd be like, how come your life gets to go on? I feel like mine stopped and I don't know how to make it go again. It felt like a cross between I must be doing it wrong and therefore I'm failing, and this is quite mundane and I didn't know that it was going to be mundane, but also why is it 2 p.m. and I haven't left the house? So
Yes.
it was that kind of, all of those things all the time. And then I'd look at him and be like, wow, I did that. He's so gorgeous. And then I'd be like, Michelle, shower, you're disgusting. And then he cries again. You're feeding
a roller
again.
coaster.
And it's like Groundhog Day, right? You're like, wow, here we are again. I feel like we were just a week and now you're here again. So I found it quite challenging in that way. And then I think that the other thing that I felt very profoundly is other people seemed to know what they were doing and I had no clue. And that's when I feel like I could cry for myself, because none of us know what we're doing. We're all just making it up.
No.
Right? Of course not. And I found that really, really difficult to take. That was a hard one.
Oh man, that brings me back. So my oldest is 9. He will be 10 in March. My youngest is 8 or almost 8. So like very small age gap on my end, which was also very intense. Similar to both of you, I was also the first in my social circle who had a kid. I didn't even have like a very big social circle. I just moved all the way out to the country. I moved an hour and a half away from my mom. So I left whatever village I used to have back in my hometown. I was still so young. I was 25 when I gave birth to my oldest.
Wow.
I had no career to speak of, so I hadn't even figured out who I was as an adult, let alone as a mother. So I was like, I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I was ready for a kid, and then I had the kid and I was like,
this isn't what I thought.
I don't think this is a very good idea.
Right.
But here we are, and I had to, he was there, so I had to figure it out, and I had to do it all. It was so hard.
It's so hard.
What I find so shocking, too, is so I have 2 kids. We all have 2. And after the first one, I'm like, okay, like I know how to parent for them, like now at this, like not everything by any means, but I'm like, okay, like I kind of got this. And then you have your second, and you're like, what the actual...
Oh, yeah.
And then I feel like everything you think you know goes out the window. Or at least for me, I like completely blocked out some of the harder moments. For example, labor and delivery. And then it was like, now what? And I do feel like for people who come out of that, and as I have a bunch of friends who are now becoming first-time moms, and they're like, holy shit, like how have you been surviving? How do I survive? What are we doing all day? How does this work? And what I would love to dig into with you, who's someone who is such a wonderful advocate for building community amongst women and mothers, how do we do it? What's the first step? If you're in the thick of it, spit up in your hair, you haven't left the house in a week, first kid, how do you take that step to find that village? And where do we start?
It's so hard. And the thing is that you have to do at this point, which is really, really hard as an adult, is accept you're going to get really uncomfortable and do things that you actually hate yourself for doing, right? And that is the hardest step, because I am someone who is in a social situation. I don't really love it, right? I'm not brilliant in a first-time social situation. Like, I'm much better when I warm up and I've like been with you a few times and then you'll love me. But that first time, I'm going to make the socially awkward comment. I'm going to make the gaffe. I will, like, it's just who I am. So you're going to have to do the things that put you in that position where you know you're going to do all of those things, but it doesn't matter, because can I tell you the first thing, no one is thinking about you. Everyone's just thinking about themselves. They're all just thinking about how they're getting through the day. So we all think everyone's thinking, oh my God, she's such a dummy. Like, no one's caring. All they're thinking about is, do I smell poop? Does she need to be changed? Do I need they're only thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you. I'm going to get uncomfortable, and then no one's judging me if I mess up, because everyone, like, we're all just caring about ourselves. They're the first 2 golden rules. And then the third thing is you've got to be brave and you've got to do the thing. And the thing is, say hi, like go up to someone, smile, be uncomfortable, ask someone to go for coffee, put yourself out there. And that is hard. And I say that as someone whose entire business is about asking women to say hi to another woman, right? So that's my entire business model. But I promise you, if you do it once, it's easier the second time. And all you need is one friend to be in your village. Village sounds huge, but actually you just need one. And once you find that one person, and that one person is the person who you text at 3 a.m. when you're doing, another feed, or they have a temperature, or you just are feeling like lousy or whatever it might be, you just need one. So those are my 3 kind of big tips.
And I want to talk about what happens later, because I think we talk a lot about the postpartum mom and how tough that is. But what about when you've got, 2 kids, 5 and 10 or whatever, and you're like, you know what, I actually don't really have friends that can relate to what I'm going through, or you don't feel like you have that community to lean on. And one thing that I find so fascinating too is that because of the way social media functions, often I think we have this almost delusion that these people are our friends and are our village and the people we're following. And of course, there's a wonderful discourse sometimes, and you help each other and you get information and you support and you chat online. And I'm not trying to belittle that in any way, because I do believe there's a ton of amazing value that can come from that. But what about the mom who maybe doesn't even interact? She's just a watcher, and I'm one of these people. I like observe, I follow, I learn, I watch, but I don't really engage and comment and talk with other moms on social media, but I do absorb and consume a lot of it. And I think there's this like, but I have those people, they get me, but actually they don't know who I am. I'm an invisible follower, but I've got older kids. So like, then where do I go to find those people? And how does that all connect? And this is stuff that I talk about with my mom friends actually all the time. So I'd love to hear your take.
Yeah. So I think that the way I could think about social media, so I'm talking about TikTok, I'm talking about Instagram, I'm talking about those kind of platforms. They are really consumption platforms. They are not community platforms, and they're not the same thing. The community is for the creator and that creator's ability to interact with the people who follow. But the followers can't really, not really on a deep level, interact with each other. They're really just consuming the content creators' output. Yes. Nothing wrong with that. But that is the difference between community and social. Social is I produce, you watch. And community is I speak, you answer me. You make sure that person answers me. Hey, Esther, what do you think about this? And that's what community is. It's not the same thing. I always think you should consume TikTok, Insta, whatever. Love them. I love them too. But I consume them like I consume Netflix. I consume them like I consume Vogue, right? I'm looking at something that has been curated. There's a stylist. There's a photographer. There's hair and makeup. There's post-production. It's not real, right? It's a snapshot of something in that moment in time that has production. Community has no production because we're just at our kind of most honest, most vulnerable, most real. And that's when we're like, I need help because ... And that's when the community comes in. They're like, happened to me. Don't worry. This is what you should do, whatever it might be. So I think that's the difference between the two. How do I think about it for like older moms of like older kids or growing up kids? If it helps, I didn't start Peanut until my son was 3. So I went through the whole of like him and the loneliness and the isolation. And it was when he was 3, I just actually realized that it's not going anywhere. My need for friends. The bigger the kid, the bigger the problem. I just need more women. I don't need less of you. I need more of you. I need more advice. I need more support. And so that was really how I viewed it. I was like, actually, this is not going anywhere. So, of course, age of kid is important, actually, for many things. And so that was important in our product to make sure that you could find women who have those kids of a similar age when it's to do with the kid. But when it's to do with you, actually, all you just need is someone who's had an experience that's similar to yours.
Yeah, I think that's very high value. And I was hoping you would tell the story about freckles because this is to me like the coolest phenomenon of the power of moms. And I want the world to know it.
Thank you. It's so cute, isn't it? So This is based on a true story. So we recreated a part of it, but the true story is this. A woman went on Peanut and she said, we've lost my kid's comforter. It's like a little soft toy. And no one in the house is sleeping. He won't sleep without it. He's absolutely like, I'm distraught. I've been back everywhere. I've asked people. I can't find it. Here's a picture. And the picture she posted, I was like, dude, you're not finding that. That's the weirdest looking toy I've ever seen. It was a really strange looking toy. Right. So I was like, there's no way you're finding that. And also, like, how does anyone even know that's a toy? I thought it was a dog toy. Actually, it would look so weird. But it was getting so much traction in the app, right? Everyone was commenting. That's how it got sent to me. Someone in the team was like, hey, have you seen this? So we're kind of tracking it and we're watching it. The community, the village, my God, it was like a rallying call. People going online. Have you go on ChatGPT? They've put it into reverse search engine. Like, is it this? Can you buy a new one? Everyone, everywhere. You cannot imagine. And there's all these different variants of what looks kind of like the weird looking toy. One woman's like, I'm really good at crochet. Shall I make you one? And the whole thing is going wild. And eventually it was found. The toy was found. And it was this amazing moment where my entire team were like, they found the toy. And it was amazing. And we were all so excited that we were like, we have to actually tell everyone else that this stuff happens when women come together, because we do amazing things for each other.
That's so funny.
We do.
Wait, where was the toy? We need to know. Where did they find it?
The toy was in the cleaner's janitor cupboard in the coffee shop that they'd been to.
Oh, that's
I just got goosebumps.
Right. But isn't it amazing?
This is so funny because, well, first of all, just a moment of silence for like how freaking awesome mothers are.
They were
girls
amazing.
Supporting girls.
Come on, this was amazing.
That's
they
crazy.
were like, we will not sleep. My favorite bit was when they were reverse search engine. They were like, could it be this? With some weird sock with eyes sewn on.
Oh my God.
Could it be this one? So it was incredible.
That. Because I feel like that some instinct is to be like, well, you should have bought more than one. Like people, people were just so wonderful and loving and supportive and not judgy. And that is what the definition of the village is.
And by the way, this is what I loved, because when it went outside of Peanut, what people said is exactly that. Why didn't you buy two? Or like, why is she getting so worked up? They'll get over it. They're a kid. But within Peanut, it was, we've got you. Don't worry. We'll find it. Let us help, whatever it might be. So we recreated it as a campaign. And we didn't tell anyone that it was a recreation. We just kind of recreated it. And my God, the Peanut community, they were up again. Here it is. It must be this one. I've seen it here. And there was a podcast with a woman who had like a pink thing in the background. They were like, it's definitely that. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's another brand's like emblem, but thank you. Like it was wild. And then we revealed that it was a campaign to draw attention to how brilliant they are. And everyone who participated in the campaign got a copy of our book.
That's so sweet. I feel like that's the joy of other mothers and like what we'll do for one another. And it's, I don't know, I just find it so refreshing because I don't think that is something that would maybe otherwise happen.
I agree with you. And also, it's just one of those things where at that moment, you know it will pass, but you also know that little comforter or whatever it is your little one's world. And I know it myself. My 6-year-old still has like a little muslin, and she's always like, have you got my baby Muzzy? And she's still obsessed with it, and that is their world. That's their little possession. They can't control much, but they can control these things.
I literally lived like the first half of like the Lost Stuffy, because when we were in Toronto visiting Melissa, my kids were back at home with my mom, and my youngest, who is about to turn 8 now, in a month, has like this bunny that he schleps around everywhere.
Yeah.
And he took it to my grandma's, just my grandma's, where they go so many times. He put it on like a bench somewhere outside on a patio. Then they went like playing in the backyard. And when they came back, it was gone. My mom, my grandma, my sister, my brother-in-law, my other son, my little nephew, who's 3, have gone on like a 2-day search.
I love it.
Everywhere. We did not find it.
Oh no.
No.
So this is like the sad part, where like I'm still hoping that at some point, maybe in wintertime when like all of the leaves have fallen off, it still might turn up in the backyard. But at this point, like we still haven't found it. It's like one of our life's biggest mysteries at this point. And whenever any one of the family is at my grandma's, they will do like a little check. Is it here?
This is like a Pixar movie waiting to happen, like the Land of Lost Toys.
Honestly, I do think it is. It's the next Pixar. Definitely.
You've heard it here first, everybody.
That's it. Exclusive.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, I want to ask you, and we're kind of wind down here, but what is the most important thing that you believe women and mothers should know about just navigating life?
We are all just doing it as we go along. None of us have got a set plan and everything's going to plan. However it looks, however people present themselves, we are all just dealing with the day-to-day. And I think as soon as you know that we're all just dealing with the day-to-day, all of a sudden, all of the feelings of like failure or anxiety start to relax because you're like, I can't control what's going to happen in the day. So all I can control is the here and now, and we're all the same. And the second thing is tricky. It's 2 of them. But the second thing is for the book, I spoke to a therapist, and talking about kind of the mental load and exhaustion and how we're doing everything. And I asked her about, I know we're meant to fill our own cup before we fill anyone else's. And she said, wait, if you go to the faucet and you fill your glass, you pour a little bit of water into everyone's glass, what happens to your glass at the end of it? And I was like, well, it's empty. She was like, it's empty. But if you go to the faucet, put everyone's glass underneath yours, put yours on top, turn the faucet on and leave it running, guess what? Everyone's overflows. And I was like, wow. She was like, you've got to keep it running, keep the water running, keep it filled up, overflow your own, and everyone else's will overflow. So I like to think of it like a champagne, one of those champagne towers.
Of course.
It's very much like that. And it's just flowing down. And as soon as you think about the fact that it's not just that you should top up your own cup and go and fill everyone else's once in a blue moon all the time. You have to be topped up all the time to make everyone else's overflow. Prioritize you is what I'm saying.
I'm here for it because everyone we talk to, for every podcast, every expert we work with for POC, everyone says the same thing, which is, whatever analogy you want, but it's you have to take care of yourself first and always.
Absolutely. Or
you're screwed. And everyone around you is screwed. And it's so hard to do that on a day-to-day basis, in my opinion.
So hard.
But that's why I think the village is so crucial, because actually Esther is a wonderful friend to me in this case, because she's constantly like, Melissa, did you
take a rest?
Did you rest? Did you work all night? And we know we have to do these things, but it doesn't make it easier. So having people around us who can help us make sure that switch on that faucet, put on that emergency override and make sure it's on for a while, I think is really important too, because sometimes you just can't do it by yourself because you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel and you just need someone to rip you out.
It's beautiful. You will never do it as much as you'll fight for your friend to make sure they do it.
Yes. Oh my God.
Right?
We need to be that for each other.
It's why you must just make one connection, because that one person is going to make sure, did you drink water? Did you go outside today? Did you touch grass? Whatever it is, that one friend is going to be the friend that does it, right?
Did you touch your grass today?
I'm going now.
Well, this has been a joy. We love you. Thank you for being here. Really, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. I think people will get a lot of value from this.
Thank you so much. And for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle always brings the best.
Energy, vibes, everything.
Yes. I was like,
Wisdom?
what am I going to say? She just brings the best. She's just the best.
She's the best.
I feel like this is such an important conversation to be having, and we hope you all found some value in it. And if you don't have a village, this is your reminder
to go out and find one.
Yes. Go get one.
It is so hard to go and put yourself out there.
And I have to actually think of something my dad told me once when I was young, which is the worst thing that can happen is somebody says no, and you'll survive a no.
Yeah.
So if you say, hey, do you want to get a coffee? And they're like, no, sorry. Then you just turn around, you give your kid a kiss, and you move on. But they'll probably say yes, because who wouldn't? I think that's the thing. Most of us are actually looking for these connections, and you're just waiting and looking and hoping, like when you're at a bar waiting for a person to come talk to you or hit on you. It's like we're all just out there waiting for connection. So yeah, don't be shy. Go build one. I'm going to go. That's my project for the weekend. I'm going to go try and make a new friend.
Love it.
Michelle, thank you so much for being here. And for all of you listening, please go follow Michelle for more wisdom about motherhood and parenting in general. You can find her on Instagram at Michelle Kennedy Lon. That's Michelle with 2 L's, Kennedy with 2 N's, and LON. Or you can follow her company at Peanut, which is a wonderful brand, and they're doing wonderful things for moms. So go take a look at that. And don't forget, you're doing great. Okay, and that's the pod. But please don't go anywhere yet. Don't press any buttons. Before you go, we want to remind you that We're Doing Great is brought to you by Puck Puck, an award-winning company reimagining how kids play and learn using technology. If you appreciated this episode, please give us 5 stars so other parents can come find us too. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Come find us on Instagram and TikTok at We're Doing Great Pod. We would love to talk to you and learn from you and just chat and be friends. And until then, don't forget, you're doing great.